In math recently, we have started to measure with inches, feet, and yards. And we're going to start to estimate different lengths of objects. So when we estimate, we're taking a guess at how long something might be or how big something might be. So to make sure that our estimates are close or about, we can use some examples of objects that we know are about an inch or are about a foot or are about a yard. So we can take those mental benchmarks, those objects that we know are about those sizes, think and see them in our mind, mentally think about their size, and then use those as examples to make some close estimates. So we know that an inch is about the size of our knuckle. So I know how big that is because I can see my knuckle right here. So if I didn't have a ruler, I could use this mental benchmark and mark and move forward if I wanted to make a guess or an estimate about how close the object was, how long it was in inches. Or I could think about a quarter, the size of a quarter, the size of a crayon, or maybe a paper clip. I can mentally picture those being about an inch and then kind of lining those up with the mark and move strategy to make a guess on about how many inches long something was. Or if I'm thinking about a foot, I know that a foot is about the size or the length of my elbow to my wrist. So if this is about a foot, I could definitely look at that, look at an object, and make a close estimate on how many feet long something was. I know it's bigger than an inch, so I could use this mental benchmark of my wrist to my elbow to measure something a little bigger, maybe a piece of paper. That's about a foot long, or maybe the length of a window. That's about a foot long. Or maybe your math book or a folder. Those are about a foot long, okay? So I can mentally picture those to make some good estimates. Now let's talk about something a little bigger, a yard. So a yard is about from your wrist to your other wrist. So if you were to stretch both of your arms out, so from one wrist all the way to the other wrist, that's about a yard, okay? And the tool you might use to measure that accurately would be a yardstick. So from wrist to wrist, if you extended your arms out, that length all the way across, that's about a yard. So if I picture that mentally, I can estimate the length or the height of different objects. Other objects that are about a yard are maybe the height of your desk or your kitchen table, or maybe the length of your bed or the height of your bed. Okay? So if you mentally picture, well, if my dining room table is about this tall, then I know that my counter is about that and a little more. So maybe it's a yard or maybe 2 yards. And just remember, when you're making those mental benchmarks, you're estimating. So you would label it that the dining room table is about 1 yard. Or if you're measuring with inches and you're using those mental benchmarks to measure your juice box. And you're gonna think about, well, if that's 1 inch, my juice box is maybe about 5 inches tall. So just remember, you're going to use those mental benchmarks. You're going to get an about measurement. So you're gonna estimate and get an idea. Then you're going to use your tools to get an accurate or actual measurement. So good luck.